Every second, the U.S. borrows another $100,000. The national debt just crossed $34 trillion. And if you're thinking, so what? Here's a wake-up call. This crisis could crash your savings, your retirement, even your job.
The United States has too much debt. It cannot add to the debt the way it is operating. It is the world's biggest consumer, largely financed by government debt in the way that it's operating. China is the biggest producer. They produce a lot of goods, more than the United States, Japan, and Germany combined in manufactured goods, and they put it out, and they save too much, and they buy the dollars. We cannot continue this debt money problem. We're at the end of a debt money world order.
But so how are we going to get the negotiation?
It is only through cooperation, calmness, and analytical work in which we recognize that these imbalances are unsustainable. They're not just financially unsustainable. In a world that is near war, that there cannot be mutual dependencies. And so how that is done together is the most important thing.
What is the U.S. debt, really? Let's break it down. The U.S. government borrows money to pay for stuff it can't afford, like Social Security, defense, and interest on previous debt. That money comes from bonds, which the government sells to investors, banks, even foreign countries like China and Japan. Right now, we owe more than our entire economy produces in a year. That's like making $60,000 a year, but being $65,000 in credit card debt and still spending more. Why? It's getting worse. In 2000, the debt was under $6 trillion. In 2025, it's over $34 trillion and climbing fast. What's causing the surge? Three things: endless wars, tax cuts with no spending cuts, and pandemic relief. And now, interest on the debt is becoming one of the government's biggest expenses. It's like paying interest on your credit cards. With another credit card, what this means for you. Okay, here's where it gets real. When debt balloons, the government has two options: raise taxes or print more money. Raising taxes hits your paycheck. Printing more money leads to inflation, which eats away your savings, your retirement fund, and even your grocery budget. And if lenders stop trusting the U.S. to pay its debt, interest rates could spike. That means higher mortgage rates, student loans, credit cards, everything. Can this be fixed? Yes, but it's going to hurt. Fixing this means spending cuts, higher taxes, or both. But politicians don't want to touch it because it's political suicide. And while they argue, the debt keeps rising. So what can you do?
Well, I'm a little embarrassed because this is really going to showcase my ignorance of the subject, but I've got a few questions about the national debt. Who do we owe this $33 trillion to? Why, as a country, did we borrow it in the first place? Mm-hmm. Is it even possible or logical for our federal government to pay off this debt and operate debt-free?
Those are great questions. Well, who we owe the money to, or whoever bought the Treasury bills, are called T-bills. And the Treasury of the United States issues a bond, and if you buy that bond, then that means that if I buy a, $100,000 Treasury bond, that means the United States of America owes me $100,000 if I bought that bond, and it pays me a certain interest rate. Now, I know they're never going to pay the bond, or if they do, they're going to pay it by issuing another one.
Yeah.
Okay, which is if it actually ever does come due, that's how they do it. They'll issue another set to cover the ones that are coming due. But I also know that I can sell that bond at any moment because the credit rating of the United States of America is still strong. Okay, so that's how they finance it. And the danger is when foreign countries or foreign entities of any kind, wealthy corporations in in foreign countries buy up a bunch of that. That means the United States is in debt, say, to China, as an example, deeply in debt to China. It's a little dangerous politically. But it's not like they can call the debt. It's not like they can repo Kentucky. So it's okay. So, but when the revenue coming in from taxes and other things won't cover the expenses of highways and military and $45,000 toilet seats and $1 billion to this country and $8 billion to that country in supplies, which we do pretty regularly. We give billions and billions and billions away overseas. When we don't have the income in a year, the amount that we're short, the difference is called the deficit. And the amount that we borrow has gone up every year because we keep spending, not just spending more than we make, but every year spending more than we make. We raise the amount that we're going into debt. So when they say they cut the deficit, all that means is they didn't go over budget quite as much. That's all it means. And then the last question is, can we get rid of it? Mathematically, we could. I don't think we have the political willpower to do it. Because as soon as you tell your Uncle Henry, who gets a subsidy because he runs a dairy farm from the U.S. government, that he's not going to get that subsidy anymore because we're cutting our expenses, then he's not going to vote for that congressman. And that congressman is going to get replaced by a congressman who will spend money like he's a drunken congressman, right?
Yeah.
In theory, a lot of people say, I'd like to balance the budget to where we're not going further in debt. But to do that would require cutting a lot of things out. And the problem is we're so far in debt now that a big portion of the budget is just the interest on the old debt.
Right.
And you can't cut that. You got to pay that. So where are you going to cut? You're going to cut money in the Middle East, money in the Ukraine, money to this country, money to that country. There's a lot of people talk about that. Are you going to cut the military? I mean, those people don't get paid anything anyway, and they put their lives on the line for us. I don't know how to do that. The amount of hate that it would generate because of the number of lives it would touch to cut everything necessary to cut to get it down to balance I don't know if anybody's got the political capital to pull that off, either side. I think it'd be the last time that party existed right now, because people have gotten used to being on the government dole one way or another. The local government in my county is waiting on $14 million right now to build a highway or to redo a road that runs up beside one of my houses. And they've been waiting 5 years on that $14 million instead of the local county handling their own business. It's that way everywhere. Waiting to do the bridge repairs until we get the government money. Waiting to do this until you get the government. And so everybody's on the dadgum take, and nobody wants to say no. And saying no is the only way you balance a budget. When you do it at home, Casey, when I do it at home, the way I live on less than I make is I look at the kids and I say no. I look at my wife and we look at our budget and we go, we can't go on vacation. We're broke people. We got to not be broke people before we can go on vacation. We can't afford that car. Those bass are going to get away because I'm not going to have a bass boat with a motor that big because I can't afford to pay for it. This is what normal people do. We say no. But the federal government has absolutely no ability to say no because everybody wants them to say yes.
Start by protecting yourself. Diversify your savings. Don't depend on Social Security to be there forever. Hedge against inflation. Own assets, not just dollars. And stay informed, because this crisis won't be solved in Washington. It'll hit you at home first. If this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. Share it with someone who thinks this crisis doesn't matter. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns, without the fluff, fear, or political spin. Because the more you know, the better you can protect what's yours